Call on Government Order of the Day number 2.
Food Safety Law Reform Bill interrupted debate on third reading.
Before I call the Honourable Minister, I just want to remind the House that at the last time we were debating this, the Minister had 9 minutes and 30 seconds remaining to speak, and if the Minister would look to me for guidance for the countdown of time, it will not be the same as what is displaying on the time clock. I call the Honourable Damien O'Connor.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. I'm pleased to be able to speak in support of the Food Safety Law Reform Bill, which makes a range of improvements to the legislation that underpins our food safety system.
A point of order, Honourable Tim Macindoe.
Madam Speaker, I apologise for interrupting the Minister, but this Minister did not commence this speech. And I'm just wondering whether you can advise the House whether it is permissible for a different Minister to continue the speech.
Thank you very much for your point of order. The Minister in charge of the bill is able to continue an interrupted speech. Minister Hipkins, committed. Yep. It is convention. I will find the standing order for you. Yes, just a moment. The clerk will find that for you. It may take a moment. We will permit the Honourable Damien O'Connor to continue with this speech.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. This omnibus bill amends the Food Act, the Animal Products Act and the Wine Act to address the remaining issues raised by the Whey Protein Concentrate, WPC it was known as, inquiry. The House will recall my support of the legislation when it was in the Primary Production Select Committee and my desire to see its passage sooner rather than later from a position of opposition. I now have the privilege, I guess, of being the Minister. The previous government committed to implement all 38 recommendations of the WPC inquiry, which was set out after the Fonterra botulism false alarm of 2013. Most of the recommendations have already been addressed, including several key initiatives such as the establishment of the New Zealand Food Safety Science and Research Centre and a Food Safety Assurance Advisory Council. The bill sits alongside these and other multiple operational actions taken since the WPC inquiry. The bill was introduced in June 2016, was considered by the Primary Production Select Committee, and I'd like to acknowledge the efforts of that committee that approached this in a non-partisan way. It was reported back by the committee in December 2016 and was read a second time on the 22nd of June 2017. So it has been around for some time. Madam Speaker, I'm pleased that the bill has unanimous support in this House. It shows the outcome that can be achieved when the House cooperates to pass legislation for the good of all New Zealanders. Many speakers in previous debates mentioned the importance of food safety and its regulatory system in New Zealand. I'd like to emphasise to the House that this government is in complete agreement about the importance of food safety to New Zealand, to its consumers and to its exporters. Protecting New Zealand's reputation as a world-class supplier of safe food that is suitable for its intended purpose cannot, however, be the role of government alone. We must harness the combined efforts of others who are well placed to act, such as food business operators and industry groups. Our system is designed to ensure the careful management of food-borne disease and illness risks while recognising the costs associated with that management so that we can keep consumers safe, enable business to develop and maintain and increase international trade. The bill reflects the priority that this government puts on food safety by making amendments that will be of benefit across the whole food system. And the bill is a result of a very collaborative process at every level. Madam Speaker, in the bill's first reading debate, many members talked about the key themes that run across the amendments, and it's useful to emphasise these here. Firstly, we need to continue to improve the effectiveness and the efficiency of the food safety system. We need to make sure that resources are allocated according to the level of risk food poses and are used to deliver the greatest level of consumer protection possible. Madam Speaker, we need to be able to make sure we're ready and able to deal rapidly and effectively and efficiently with food incidents as they arise. These actions build and protect New Zealand's reputation that is so pivotal in our international trade success. The bill's provisions will improve the management of food safety and other risks across the whole system. Secondly, we need to ensure that the level of regulation is justified and balanced against the level of compliance impacts for food businesses. And I'd like to acknowledge our coalition partners, New Zealand First, who have had discussions to ensure that small food businesses are not clobbered by this new round of compliance through the Food Act. And so we will work with them and the Green Party to ensure that small, innovative food producers can carry on and develop their businesses without paying ridiculous compliance costs. Industry and advocacy groups engage extensively with the development and progress of the bill, and submissions from a wide range of perspectives help them form and shape the recommendations made by the Select Committee, now followed through by the coalition partners in this government. Madam Speaker, thirdly, we need to future-proof the legislation as much as possible so that it has the flexibility to allow food safety practice to evolve over time, along with the creativity and innovation that is the hallmark of New Zealand primary sector and secondary processing sector. We harmonise the requirements where possible so that obligations are similar in a world of increasingly multi-ingredient food products. Madam Speaker, the original bill was adjusted by the Select Committee to make sure these three outcomes are achieved. The Select Committee members from both sides of the House have stated they consider we now have the balance about right, and I welcome endorsement from the opposition for the passage of this bill. The amendments that were made through Parliament help future-proof the legislation, and I acknowledge the SOPs that we brought into the House. Firstly, two provisions that have delayed commencement will now come into force within 2 years of enactment. This means that regulations for risk-based plans and programs will have to be made speedily so that businesses know what the requirements are in a timely manner. They need certainty, Madam Speaker. The clauses throughout the original bill that related to operators providing full copies of their risk-based programs to their verifying agencies have been removed as deemed unnecessary. We've also removed clauses relating to verifiers having to hold and store up-to-date copies of the programs for the businesses they verify. These changes address compliance impacts that were raised in the Select Committee and show we are listening to business. It also reflects the existing requirements where operators already have obligations to notify verifiers of changes made and must supply these programs to the regulator within 2 working days on request. Madam Speaker, in particular, the bill gives us the ability to deal with the interface between health legislation and food legislation, both important. The new regulation-making power that will let New Zealand companies use low-THC hemp seeds in food products is something industry have been asking for years. And New Zealand worked closely with our Australian ministerial counterparts. We work closely with our colleagues in coalition to make this happen. The move evolves our regulatory system to allow companies to innovate. Madam Chair, the bill also makes sure that all the tools to rapidly inform and protect the public when a food safety incident occurs and to deal proportionately with any breaches of obligations by businesses are readily available, Madam Speaker. It allows the increased use of automatic electronic systems and electronic transactions, something that might have been considered automatic, but we need to make legislative change. Madam Speaker, in closing, I note that the bill helps strengthen and maintain New Zealand's world-class food safety regulatory system. As Minister for Food Safety is, alongside biosecurity, the two most important elements of our primary production systems. And this bill will make the changes necessary to take our systems forward, hopefully prevent any such WPC 80 incident occurring in the future, and offering both the capability and the legislative background to ensure that we produce the best food in the best way for the best customers in the world. This is our reputation. This bill helps ensure that we maintain that into the future. Thank you, Madam Speaker.
Madam Chair.
I call the Honourable David Bennett.
Thank you, Madam Chair. It's good to see that...
Point of order, Honourable Louise Upston.
Madam Speaker, we had asked for a clarification on the issue of whether the Speaker who's just resumed his seat was able to do that, and we would actually have liked to have heard that before the Speaker concluded.
Thank you for that. I have just received some advice from the clerk. Ministers speaking on behalf of another. Ministers are entitled to act in the House on behalf of absent ministers. That is a long-established convention in the House, and you could see McGee, page 212. In this instance, a minister moved the first reading of the bill on behalf of the minister in charge of the bill. That speech was interrupted. If the minister in charge of the bill is present in the House, then he or she is entitled to continue the speech commenced on his or her behalf. However, if the minister in charge of the bill is absent, any other minister may continue the speech instead. The same event has arisen in the House previously. In 2007, a minister moved that the third reading of a bill on behalf of the minister in charge of the bill. The debate was interrupted. When it resumed, a third minister continued the speech. You can refer to Hansard on Weathertight Homes Resolution Services Remedies Amendment Bill, Volume 641, pages 11,251 and 11,298. The situation is different to any other speech made on a bill. The minister in charge of a bill must move a motion in relation to the bill and may speak in support of the motion. Because this must happen in order for a bill to be debated, it is permissible for another member to act on behalf of an absent member. The remaining speeches on a bill may be made, but are not essential to the progress of the bill. If a speech subsequent to that of the member in charge is interrupted, then only the member who had the call is entitled to resume it. I hope that clears the matter up for members of the House.
Madam Chair.
I call the